I'd like to welcome you all to Pottsgrove High School and our first meeting for January 2020. First meeting of the Pottsgrove School Board. We'll go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Secretary will please note the roll. And I'd like to make an announcement that we had an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss security and personnel. Moving on from there, we'll go ahead and get started. And do we have any requests for public comment?
We do not.
And we'll look out over this fine-looking crowd and ask if anybody there would care to make any comments before we get started with our regular discussion. Seeing no volunteers, we'll get started with presentations, recognition, and awards.
Thank you, Mr. Lingren. Good evening, and we really welcome everyone tonight in this large crowd that we have an opportunity to honor our retiring staff members, our students, and our community members tonight. So I want to thank you for taking the opportunity to come out and share this night with us. Tonight, our first recommendation, our first recognition we'd like to call up tonight is Dr. Cantor. We are bringing up the Pottsgrove Village. It's a collaboration with our Falcon Friends that take special interest in all of our students here in the Pottsgrove School District. We have a special presentation for our board from the Falcon Friends. Dr. Cantor? Was Mrs. Pacito like to come? Okay. Bring them up. That's great. We'll bring the whole village.
We'll bring the village, right?
Excellent.
We'll bring the village with us. All right. So, good evening, Board President Lingren, board members, Dr. Shirk, Dr. Hardy, Mr. Nestor. Our purpose tonight is to actually thank you. Thank you for your support along our journey from great to excellence. There's an author, James Collins, who says, the enemy of greatness is good, right? So our goal is to move from great to exemplary. So how are we doing that? We want to let the district and board know there are 650 students in our district that have IEPs. That's almost 20% of our district are students with special needs. We want to find a way to recognize those students and their strengths. One of the first things Mrs. Pacito and I put in place is to ensure that our parents of children with special needs have a voice. So with these wonderful young ladies right here, Miss Ruiz Brown, Miss Neeson, and Miss Piazza, we put together the Pottsgrove Village. The Pottsgrove Village is a collaboration between the district and parents, and I'll let them speak about the village.
Hi, I'm Marisa Neeson. I have had 4 children in the district. 2 have since moved on. They're successfully in college. One is still here at the high school, and then my youngest daughter, Megan, which brings me to the village, is an 8th grader at the middle school. So I just wrote a couple of short notes about the Pottsgrove Village, and then Megan and Anik may chime in just to let you know a little bit about this. So I believe we're 2 years in. Dr. Cantor, is that right? About 2 years ago, Kyle and Kate reached out to us and said that they're interested in starting a group for parents of children with special needs in the district. And really, that was it. So we got together and came up with the name, Pottsgrove Village, which was very fitting because we all know that in fact takes a village. And then came up with a vision and mission for the Pottsgrove Village. And some of that was to spread awareness. We believe as parents of children with special needs that it's important for there to just be awareness. Things as simple as people first language. So rather than saying things like special needs children, we say children with special needs. Rather than autistic child, saying things like a child with autism. That has a really big impact on our children because then we recognize that you're seeing them first as people. Expanding our community. Sometimes it can be a tough road to have a child with special needs. and it's been great to get to know this team. We had an amazing event here 2 years ago where we just invited families of children with special needs in the district to come out and have a social event, and the conversation was amazing. The parent of a child, his quotes will resonate with me forever, but we stood around the table having a conversation, and he said, "This is the most comfortable I have been speaking about my son with people in a really long time." So expanding the community. Building a support system. We have a Facebook page where we converse with each other. It is a private Facebook page, so people are free to ask questions, to share conversation. We share information with each other about the upcoming events. An Elmwood Park Zoo having a night that's safe for children with autism, those kinds of things. To increase inclusiveness. That's important to all of us. And not just inclusiveness like inclusion, that's a buzzword in education, but inclusiveness like our children aren't sitting alone in the cafeteria, like our children are recognized for what their successes here in the school. We have had the opportunity to provide lots of educational and informative sessions, and we have seen a lot of you at those events. So thank you so much to those of you that have taken your time and been supportive of the events that we have had. We have had socials where families have come together and just been able to chat. We have had events on executive functioning impairment. We had events on puberty and growing up. We had events on financial planning when you have children with special needs. Anything else I'm missing? We had events on just understanding the IEP process, which seems like common sense, but that's a pretty tricky process. All I can think of off the top of my head. We had a wonderful event on transition planning, so the transitions that your children will make. So a lot of really good informative events. Our next big upcoming event, we have conversations with Kyle and Kate, which speaks volumes about this district. They're there to answer questions. And then a resource fair, where we'll have people who will come in and give lots of information. And then most importantly, our mission is just to make sure that people understand that special needs really equals human needs. So our children really want what anybody wants. They want to be included, they want to have a friend, and they want to be successful here in the Pottsgrove School District. So thank you very much.
All right, so that leads us to our next wonderful guest. We have two wonderful seniors that are Falcon friends that attend the high school, Tegan and Summer, and our wonderful life skills teacher at the high school, Mr. Stefano. So one of the things that we talked about, there are 650 students in this district that have IEPs. Out of the 650 students, everyone recognizes that the puzzle pieces are a sign of autism. But in our district, children with autism only make up the fourth leading disability category in our district, and there's 13 disability categories. That being said, we wanted to once again be leaders in our field and be exemplar. So I reached out to our wonderful team at the high school and we said, what can we do that makes Pottsgrove stand out? Everyone recognizes the puzzle pieces. There has to be something that Pottsgrove can be leaders in the field. So that led to our conversation, and I'll let Tegan take it from there.
Okay, so Dr. Cantor came to us and he said, we need a shirt idea so people can not just see the puzzle pieces and think autism, but we need something that includes everything. So we kind of sat there for a while and just were like, okay. And then we came up with the building block idea. So Legos, you piece Legos together to make anything you can dream of. And inside the Legos on the back of our t-shirts, there's different words that are very special, to us, like persevere. Mr. Stefano says that all the time to the students in the high school, makes them persevere, and trust, and all those good words, so yeah.
So a lot of the students at our school have disabilities or special needs, and we are part of a program called Falcon Friends, and that's where we go into the classroom with the students with disabilities, the life skills students, really a lot of them, and just kind of help them with schoolwork. It can be during when you have a study hall at the school. You can go into the classroom and help them with different things. When they do jobs like sorting we have the Pride period. We go in and plan activities. Me and Tegan kind of run Pride this year, planning different activities that we do with the students. We do karaoke with them, we play bingo, we do scavenger hunts, really all different things, just to get the regular education students in with the life skills students and interacting and make them feel like they have a lot of friends and people they can go to with like problems or anything they want to talk about. So yeah.
So to thank our wonderful board and our wonderful superintendent, assistant superintendent for all of your support. We know we have wonderful interventions like Read 180 and Math 180 and BMAT. So we had shirts made for each one of you just to say thank you for all of your support along our journey to excellence. So we will hand out the shirts. Everyone has names on there. So. Okay. He's not here.
Thank you for the teachings.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, I thank the Pottsgrove Village and our Falcon Friends for helping us out tonight and supporting all students in the district. The next part of our agenda is I would like to just recognize our school board tonight, much like the village did. We want to thank them for their tireless efforts as they work through the school year to do what's best for our children and our community. And that has been really a piece that I am most proud of as the superintendent, that the people around this table continually make a collaborative effort to do what's right for children. So I say this to you out of respect, and I also say this to you that as you move forward in your careers with your family, as you raise your families in the Pottsgrove community, make sure you include us in that process so we can make that the best it can be at all times. We are a small enough, intimate enough community and district that our doors are always open and our phone lines are always available for you to talk to your building administrators, our directors, our assistant superintendent, myself, and I feel that that is a luxury that we have that we continue to use to our advantage, but we don't want to forget that. So please keep that in mind, and when you see the board of directors, thank them for the efforts that they bring to the district and your children. Tonight, I just want to touch one if I can, at least you'll get it back, we gave all of our board members this year a Falcon charger. So because we continually use our cell phones and we run out of, what would you say?
Juice.
Juice, fair, okay, juice. This will give them an opportunity to replenish their juice anywhere, anytime. I think it's good for 2 charges. So it'll be a good thing for you to use and continue serving the district. So we just want to tell, so thank you very much and our board. As we continue our celebrations tonight, I would like to honor our retirees that are here with us this evening. The first retiree, and Kathy Causey. Kathy, come on up, Kathy. Very good, thank you. We're sort of putting you on the spot, but it's a good thing to be on it, to have this, it's a spotlight. Kathy started with the district as a support substitute and then moved to an student assistant position. She has worked in many different buildings since the start since starting in 2009, and has enjoyed working with the students. Kathy's new job is one she's really looking forward to doing. She will be a stay-at-home grandmom and will be babysitting her new granddaughter. Congratulations, Kathy.
Give me the right one. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel Fries, would you come up, please? Hi, Daniel. Thank you for coming. Daniel was hired in January of 1995 as a substitute custodian. He became a full-time March 2nd of 1998. Daniel has worked in different buildings, most recently as a second-shift custodian at the middle school. Daniel and his wife reside in the district, and he looks forward to relaxing and enjoying time with his family. Congratulations. Is Judy Wrigley here this evening? She's not? Okay, well, I want to give her just due and really read her bio for the crowd. Judy started her career at Pottsgrove as a special education teacher in 1985. After working as a long-term sub for 1 year, she became a contracted second-grade teacher in September of 1987 at West Pottsgrove Elementary. During her time in the district, Judy has taught at West Pottsgrove and Ringing Rocks. Known for a love of performing, Judy has helped choreograph student shows in the past and has even been known to get the staff singing and dancing on occasion. Judy looks forward to traveling, relaxing, and spending time with her family during her retirement. Congratulations, Judy, and we'll see she gets her retirement gift. As we continue our recognition, we would like to recognize cross-country stand-up athlete, junior Naomi Hillen. Naomi? As she works her way up, I want to read her bio information. As I mentioned, she is a junior at Pottsgrove High School. She received a number of accomplishments this fall. In the PAC Conference Championships, she placed second overall in the field of 65 runners. While running in the PIAA District 1 3A meet, Naomi placed 11th overall and qualified for the state championship. While competing in the PIAA 3A state championship in Hershey, PA, Naomi ran a time of 19 minutes and 8 seconds, which placed her 15th in the state. We are extremely proud of her hard work and look forward to another successful season as her senior year arrives. Naomi is coached by Mr. Larry Recton and assisted by Mrs. Tony Crater. Congratulations. Yeah. What I'd like to do at this time, if I could, because we want to shake your hand as you come up. Would like the Pottsgrove girls soccer team to please come up with your coaches. And if you could just sort of do a horseshoe behind me here, that would be great. If you could just work your way behind me, that would be great so the crowd gets to see everybody. When I finish reading the bio, I'm going to give the board an opportunity. If you'd like to come up and shake their hand, the players and the coaches, that would be great. We'll just work our way around. Okay. The Pottsgrove girls soccer team has achieved one of the most successful seasons in school history. For the second season in a row, they went undefeated in the Pioneer Athletic Conference Frontier Division. our girls finished with an overall record of 16-4, which was the most wins in school history. The Falcons also qualified for the that's I'm dating myself, Final Four and the PIAA District 1 3A playoffs. While in the district playoffs, they won their first district game in school history. With 6 returning starters, the girls will look to continue to improve on their success in 2020. The team is coached by Mr. Steve Meller, Ms. Kelly Riley, and Mr. Hector Wangia. Congratulations. And Mr. Ansbach will have all your certificates of appreciation. Thank you. Would our boys soccer team please foul up and do the same semicircle? That would be great. And how'd you like that? Like I did that? It's all part of the immune system. Helps you during builds your immunity, right? I'll be sick as a dog like next week. You will? Boys soccer? Or the whole package? Okay. Feel free. Feel free. Pottsgrove boys soccer team was back to their familiar winning ways this season. The boys won the Frontier Division Championship and qualified for the Pac-10 Final Four tournament after finishing 10-4 in conference play. The team also qualified for the PIAA District 1 playoffs with an overall record of 14-6-1. This is the 8th year in a row that the Falcons qualified for the PIAA District 1 playoffs. With 7 returning starters, the boys will look to continue and improve on their successful season in 2020. The team is coached by Mr. Jay Witkowski, assisted by Kevin Grimm and Jeff Erb. Congratulations, everybody. Appreciate it.
If I could just take a moment to publicly thank our soccer team. This year, as the 9th year that we did Friends, helping Friends, donating money to the Cancer Patient Fund down at Phoenixville Hospital. And I love the tradition we do, and this year we were able to give them $2,500. So I thank you, boys.
As Mrs. Grimm works her way around, Mr. Ansbach does have all the certificates to pass out to your team. And once again, how about a round of applause for our team? Could the Pottsgrove boys cross country team please jog to the front? All right, walking's fine. That's all right. As Coach makes and his team make their way up behind us here, I'd like to have an opportunity to read their bio. The Pottsgrove boys cross country team was back to their winning ways this past season. The team won the PIAA District 2A championship by scoring 45 points. During the 5K race, the team averaged 17 minutes and 40-second pace. The team qualified for the PIAA 2A state championship and finished 19th overall. With 3 graduating seniors, the future looks bright and the boys cross country for the boys cross country team next year. The team is coached by Mr. Larry Recta and assisted by Tony Crater. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, once again, a round of applause, and you'll have the certificate. Mr. Armstrong. I want to thank all the families that come out and tonight and supporting your sons and daughters. Appreciate it. Okay.
And I know it's cheesy. I just wish I could restrain myself. I wish I could keep myself from saying I wished everybody didn't leave at the end of that. You know, I wish a few people would stay just for the rest of the meeting.
Just a few. No.
And I appreciate you. I really do. Thank you for that.
Okay.
Although I and a few others can remember the times when the meeting was full and stayed full for the whole time, and that wasn't as much fun.
Right, absolutely.
So we'll move on to the next thing, which is approval of the minutes. So
Can I make a motion to combine both meeting minutes?
Second. We have a motion and a second to combine items 5.1 and 5.2, approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any questions or comments on those? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no, and we have one abstention over here. Patty did.
I wasn't here.
Okay. Next one.
Thank you.
I move that we accept the high school, the middle school, and the cafeteria accounts as presented.
So moved.
Chuck did.
Oh, we did.
Well,
Actually, Patty did.
Patty moved, and then Al seconded.
Correct.
We'll do that.
Yep.
And we have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions on this? No, other than who motioned and who seconded. Does anybody else have any questions? No? All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
I move that we ratify the payments of invoices in the amount of $5,094,804.19 for November 2019 as presented.
Second.
Very good. All right, does anybody have any questions on that? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
I move that we approve the payments of invoices in the amount of $6,822,548.72 for December 2019 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion, a second to ratify the payment of the invoices for December in the amount named. Do we have any questions on that? No. If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
I move that we approve the treasurer's report for November and December 2019 as presented and file it for audit.
We have a motion and a second for Mr. Lappick. Are there any questions on those treasury reports? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
Okay.
Discuss away, please.
Thank you. Moving on to the report of the superintendent, I would like to recognize Senior Brandon Mayberry and Junior Madison Palmer for an update on what's happened.
All the schools participated in their own holiday festivities before we all had winter break, which was very nice. Lower, the middle school and high school held choir, band, and orchestral concerts, and the middle school handbells also did perform in this concert. Before break, National Honor Society had their annual cookie drive where members baked over 500 cookies and distributed them out to the teachers and staff at the high school. On Saturday, December 14th, the Student Council and Spark the Wave put on a winter festival together. There were crafts, games, music, snacks, gifts, wrapping, and gingerbread house making. Lots of children and families came to enjoy the event, and it was a very successful day. Ringing Rocks held a family fun night on the 10th, where the National Honor Society members volunteered.
High schoolers started midterms today, and they'll continue tomorrow. Thursday is the makeup day, and Friday is color day, which students have been looking forward to all year. The high school will be putting on a performance of the Addams Family musical later this year. Rehearsals started January 9th, and the show will be at the end of March. Rehearsals for Frozen Junior started at the middle school last week. The robotics team hosted a video game competition fundraiser on January 11th. Students competed against each other playing Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros., and Tetris, and all proceeds went to go fund future projects for the robotics club. Coming up in March is the talent show at the high school held by student government, and in May, they will be having their Powder Puff game as a fundraiser too. Thank you.
Any questions for our student reps?
I was just curious what the themes were for the seniors this year for Color Day.
Senior Space Jam, again. Yeah, and the class who did Senior Space Jam last time lost, so I don't know who thought that was a good idea.
And
Is that really how you feel, or right? Exactly. Yeah.
so,
Good luck.
and what's the theme for the juniors?
We're Junior Jedi.
Junior Jedis.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. What? I don't know. I tried to check up on it, but we're stuck with a bad letter. I don't know what else to say.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Let us know how you make out.
Next report.
Yeah. Very good.
See how that goes.
Yeah.
Good luck to everyone.
As we continue tonight with some discussions, I wanted to, it's funny, I'm looking ahead to 21, 22, and one of the things I wanted to start tonight, and we're going to continue discussion next Tuesday in the CIT committee meeting, is changing our devices from the laptop, if you will, to an iPad. And I was approached by Dr. Ziegler, Dr. Ramage, and Mr. Voris this fall about a possible idea of moving forward to this. And I wanted to, I wanted to know why, first of all, why are we doing this? And they came up with some logical explanations that they're gonna share with you tonight, briefly, because we want to pick up the conversation next week. But I wanted to start, as I told them, I wanted to start a conversation with the board because some of the pieces that it does tie into that intrigue me are this: budget, which I know the board is interested in, security, okay, our dial programming, and professional learning. So those four things in itself interest me as we look at our one-to-one program. So I would like those gentlemen to come up tonight, and in your I think it is on board docs now, and it also is on a hard copy. But I think it's important. Dr. Z, you might as well come up and join the three amigos here. I think it's important just tonight to get a flavor, if you will, for the why, and we'll continue this discussion over the next couple months. But I wanted to at least start tonight by introducing this with the board.
Thank you, Dr. Shirk. We decided we would provide a paper copy as a model of integration. No, we knew it's not a big presentation piece at this point, but we wanted to give you something to work through a little bit as we begin to discuss today. And as Dr. Shirk said, you know, we see a shift, and we'll talk through a little bit of this. Did anyone notice the first exam that's on the opening cover page? Where, as Dr. Shirk mentioned, we're looking ahead. We have a clear vision that we're trying to pull together. So hopefully you caught what was going on with that opening sheet with the eye chart. But you think back to 2013, which is that first roadmap. It's called the Dial Road on your piece. And even at that time, we examined, was the iPad a good fit? And at that point, we decided to go with an iPad for the middle levels, grades 6 to 8, but we chose a laptop for 9 through 12. And just to think, if you can think back to 2013, you know, think like BlackBerry, right? That's kind of what a lot of the mobile pieces were. The iPad was pretty groundbreaking at the time, but it's not close to what the current version of an iPad will do. So maybe that's a little bit of a framing in that we don't see this as a step back. We actually see it as a way to enhance what we're doing in terms of the instruction, the learning, the student work, and all those other pieces. So the devices are not the same. In order to be thinking about 21, 22, we also want to support high school teachers, which are the one group that doesn't necessarily have an iPad to use yet in instruction. So we'd really like to work with them in 2021 very intentionally to get them prepared for what instructional opportunities they would gain that they may not currently have with use of a laptop alone. And then if you look at that next, the Y bullet that you'll see there, the bottom half of that next page, mobile device management. And Mr. Bickert can tell you probably more than you want to know about mobile device management, but it's an amazing, it's just another one of those pieces behind the scenes that accounts for the thousands of devices that are in play across the district. And there are a definite advantage when we talk about managing an iPad device compared to any other sort of laptop device in terms of security, in terms of updates, things happen more automatically, the license per unit goes down in cost, so there's lots of reasons why the mobile device management is improved also. We also love the idea of how it can extend learning in terms of student creation, music, photo, art, video, augmented reality, which is a little different than slap the goggles on and have somebody spot you so you don't fall over. Augmented reality allows you to bring things, digital items, into the physical space. So in a math class, students can hold up an iPad, change an equation, and watch how that conical shape shifts right in front of them on the table. Or make environmental changes and see how that could impact what happens, say, downriver and things like that. Moon launches, all sorts of things that are available already that connect to our curriculum. And then if you look at the next section, there's also significant cost savings as we think about this. There will be a drop in the overall lease spot, and as Mr. Bickert and I were looking over some of these pieces, there's sort of a sweet spot in the leasing where the third year of laptops, which would be for this 2021-2022 school year, we've been getting value in a buyback even at the end of lease, past lease life of these items. We still gain value back for the devices. But at this particular point, we'd hopefully, you know, and again, we'd have to see how this all plays out with exact budgeting numbers at the time, but we'll reach a point where we can really gain a lot of value for the laptop before it's at the end of the lease, and therefore offset any kind of bump in the lease payments as the schedule is set up across multiple years. And then from that point forward, from 21-22 school year forward, there would be that savings in the lease portion each year as it continues forward. We'll talk more about it. You'll see the next steps. We'll talk more about it at our CIT meetings. We have some more details for you. Obviously, some of that's going to emerge as we continue to research, and you'll see some of the things we're planning to do, get site visits. There are a number of high schools that are shifting and asking the same question. Is the laptop the appropriate device if we're a one-to-one setting, or is more of a mobile tablet kind of device appropriate? Should it have a keyboard? Do we need a pencil? How does it work in a science lab with probes? All these things are pieces that we'll continue to examine and explore and find solutions for as we move forward. And again, the other piece that Dr. Shirk mentioned, which we see as a real advantage, is that ongoing professional learning, both to shift what it means to equip kids for a future, you know, well into the 21st century. I don't like that term anymore. We're already 20 years in. Hopefully we figured out something about 21st century. But the future is always going to be the future. There are going to be jobs that don't even exist yet that our freshmen in high school will enter into when they're ready. So we want to keep building those skills, and the professional development for teachers is a big part of that. This would actually create a sort of a single device that we can focus on for instruction all the way from kindergarten through 12th grade. It's already one-to-one from grades 2 through 12. This would bring alignment of iPads all the way to 2 through 12 instead of moving to a laptop in grade 9. And I'm sure you have lots of questions, and these gentlemen may have something to add also as I'm waxing on. We don't have a gift for you. The charging brick would be an appropriate piece. Remember, you do have to charge the charging brick, but that's another story.
Yeah, I think one of the advantages is the ability to design, create, and publish. And we talk to students about the importance of designing and publishing, creating, and one of the tools that this allows is that creation piece. The other piece that we looked at is the seamless transition from middle school to high school. So students in middle school are so familiar with it. High school, you know, they have the laptops. We talked to our leadership team about this of teachers, and they were like already like, hey, can I get this app? Can I get that app? Because the apps for education grows exponentially every year, and it provides an opportunity to bring learning to life. So we think it has a real value both academically and financially.
Slide forward here a bit. When I saw this on the agenda, I asked my 4 kids just to get their immediate reaction. The one thing all 4 commented on was typing, because the older 2 in the high school, they do a lot of typing, and having an actual keyboard is very helpful. And the twins in 8th grade said that's the one thing they like about their ELA class, the gifted classroom, is that they have laptops there, so whenever they're doing a lot of typing, they can put aside their iPad and go to the laptop for the typing. So are we considering that as an option or not at all? The other question I'm asking now before I forget, currently, do we have more damages to iPads versus laptops, or the other way around? Are they even?
Well, there are more laptops out in the field than there are iPads in students' hands. Obviously, there's more students at the high school. I would say it's about
I was thinking more
same.
like percentage-wise. Just that was one of the concerns with. I remember with the iPads, and that could be because of the middle school level where they're still learning. It will break if you toss it, type thing. You know, so I don't know if it was that or if it's, you know, because it's smaller and easier to slip out of their hands or what. But just I was curious.
I would say last year we did see more damages occur at the middle school.
Okay.
When we replaced the middle school iPads last year, we did change the case to a much better, more protective case. We have seen a significant drop, we have seen a significant decrease in damages at the middle school as a result of moving to those better cases.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then the keyboard question, just, I didn't.
Yeah, it's
I know
something
it's a discussion item.
It's something we absolutely are considering, and it could be issued with a keyboard. There are cases that are built in where there's just a keyboard all the time. It could be the keyboards need to be in ELA classrooms, for example. We want to explore all those options to see what makes the most sense, what's the best fit. It's kind of like the pencil tool. Is it needed in every space, or is that more of a math, engineering, art kind of tool? So those are the very things that we're trying to move through. And Dr. Ziegler brought up a good point too. I wanted to mention too. We've been talking with teacher leaders. We brought our student reps in, but we plan to talk with students about that very same thing. You know, include a wide range of people to see what their perceptions are in terms of what may be needed if we make a shift.
What's the size of the screen of the iPad versus the size of the laptop screen?
Well, it's one of the pieces that's coming closer and closer. So the resolution of pixels between the smaller laptop screen and the newer iPads are a little larger screen. They're similar. Okay, you still get more pixels across a 13-inch laptop screen, but it's a pretty close proximity at this point.
You know, what I'm concerned about is the potential with students with, who are like me with Coke bottles for glasses. The impact of looking at a small screen. I do that all the time with my cell phone, but might be more difficult for students if you shift to a smaller screen. And I don't know if you've noticed anything. Second question, how difficult is the transition when the students go from the iPad to a laptop? Do they?
Well, I'm going to pull back around to one of the things you mentioned. You probably have seen our students with phones, and obviously all these operating systems are converging, and that's true. You see more, you know, app-like little squares on your desktop, more screens that fill in with little square icons to push and click. So it's not a touch format on the iPads, on the laptops. I don't know if you've worked between devices enough to sometimes reach up and touch your computer screen or something. I think kids are very used to the more touch-based iPad OS or phone OS than they are really in many ways compared to other desktop and laptop operating systems. It's what they use more. So it's not to answer that simply, it's not really a transition for them. They're comfortable on both. And as Dr. Ziegler mentioned, our middle schoolers have been using them actually since second grade. They've had them one-to-one now for a couple of years, and they're introduced in kindergarten.
I think another piece to it, to mention that the typing piece, the advancement of the iPad recently within the last year or two, and the new keyboard that comes along with it is much easier than the former ones that you could type with. Plus the pencil really brings it to life. So our art classes are thrilled with this because they can draw and they can do like time-lapse photography and everything when they're drawing. And it brings it to life in a new way, I think.
We can show you some examples of that student work at the CIT meeting next week.
Okay.
I had a question. The teachers would also be utilizing the iPad, and I was just wondered the ease of that versus a laptop when they're trying to update things in the system, grades, attendance, what have you. I would think, but because I'm old, it would be easier for me to work with a laptop instead of a tablet. And I was wondering what sort of feedback you received from the teachers.
Yeah, so
I was going to say two things. Maybe you're going to say the same thing. Teachers are going to be 2-to-1.
Yeah.
A teacher will still have a laptop. It's just that we wouldn't issue a laptop 1-to-1 for every student, nor, as some high schools are choosing, would we do a 2-to-1 for students. We don't feel that that's a cost-effective approach either.
I think the biggest adjustment, the teachers, when we rolled this out, that was the first question we got, like, are we losing the laptop for grades and everything? We are keeping that for the teachers along with an iPad. I think the other thing to consider is, you know, there's 4 grades in a high school, 1's going to graduate, 3 are going to be left behind with the transition. Obviously, 1's going to have the laptop for 1 year, the other one's going to have a laptop for 3 years. And that may be difficult for them to transition. We realize that, and that's something we want to work with our student body through in helping them to adjust to it. But when we look at the middle school and the ability to be, you know, like Dr. Ramish said, 2 through 12, professional learning and bringing teachers together and really helping students transition right on par with that would be much easier. You're welcome.
I'd like to ask our student reps how they feel about this.
Personally, my issue is the typing thing because I take handwritten notes in class, so it soaks in class, and then I go home and I have like folders for every class, all 6 core classes that I'm taking, and I go back and I retype everything. I have everything up, and I know in middle school my biggest struggle was the typing. I hated typing on the iPad. I hate touching the screen. I like having this because I like going in between tabs. I like to just minimize the tab and have everything there. So personally, I think the laptop's an easier use as I do see the benefits of the iPad. This is just my personal preference.
I agree. On top of that, I've been applying to colleges, and I would not like to set up my College Board account and my Common App account and try to do all of my college applications on an iPad. I just feel like that I don't feel secure doing that. I like having my laptop. I like being able to see this essay is done, this essay is done, this essay is done. And I understand, you know, the whole creating. Yes, I think that creating and making art and making music and things would be easier on an iPad, but not enough teachers are doing that, in my opinion. Like, I've never taken a music class. I took a painting class once. And, I mean, obviously there are students that are very involved in that, but my English teacher isn't going to stop giving me essays and start giving me iMovies because we have iPads now. I'm just going to have to do all of the typing that I'm already doing on an iPad. The teachers aren't going to change their curriculum to match the new technology.
All right, I know we're probably we'll be here all night long if I keep on going and such like that. So I'm going to wait a lot of my questions for the meeting next Tuesday. But a couple of things I'm going to ask you guys to bring information for is going to be A, when it comes to the integration, since we started back in 2015, it is taking teachers a very long time to get up to speed on bringing in this technology to the students. I don't want to take a step back and have to teach. I mean, right now, I don't even think we have 100%, I'd say, enrollment of teachers. You have some that are very good at using the dial program for their classes, and some teachers are not very good. Well, I don't want to start backwards and start back in 2015 again. If you guys and we end up doing this, I want it to be fast forward going forward. I do not want to go backwards. The second problem I have with switching is, to me, it's a progression. School has always been a progression. You got the elementary, then you got the middle school. Fine, they're on the iPads. To me, that is for apps and such like that. As you move to the high school and you're going to be more of career readiness, getting the students ready for the future, I don't see, at least not in my field and no one that I know of, we don't use iPads in the real world. We use computers. And I want the students to progress along to where they're used to using computers and used to doing the things that they need to do as they go into the real world. I don't see going from an iPad that literally is just apps and such like that, because it's never going to have the computing power of a computer. It's just never going to be as good. It'll be strong, but it'll never be a MacBook. There's a reason why MacBooks obviously cost more money, right? The second thing is, we have a lot of students that probably don't have their own computers and such like that. And that was one of the big reasons for me to approve these programs back in the day. To me, I'm taking a computer out of their house then for those students, and I'm putting it in an iPad. To me, an iPad's a phone. It's just a big phone. So I don't want to take that out of them unless I have to take it out of them. I want that piece of technology in their hands, getting them ready, and working on that. So there are my two things I'm going to need you to answer when I talk to you.
Yeah, I want to second Mr. Leach's point here. The students need to be prepared not just for an Apple world, but when they transition to college or industry or whatever, they're going to transition to the Windows world. And the thing that I'm concerned about when you apply to college is you're probably going to go to a Windows world. You're going to have to transition from the word processor that you're using here to Microsoft Word, from the spreadsheet that you're using here to Microsoft Excel if you're not already using it. And the question that we need to address is what Mr. Leach just raised, not just what's going to happen when they transition from middle school to high school or from elementary school to a world of laptops, but the keyboard is very useful. I learned a long time ago, I can type faster than I can write. And I can also read what I typed a lot more easily. So I think what we need to address is not just what's the future of computers, because I keep thinking back to the one Star Trek where Scotty picks up the mouse thinking it's a microphone. And the guy goes, no, it's a mouse, and he goes, oh, how quaint. But the interface is going to change dramatically in the next couple of years. But what's also going to happen is we've got to prepare these people for a world which still is going to use a laptop and need a laptop. You know, I'm teaching students right now something called MATLAB, which I don't know if you're familiar with, but it isn't going to run on an iPad. And it isn't even going to run on an Apple system. But we need to prepare people to transition to what's going to happen beyond high school. And beyond high school, Al just said a mouthful, is not an iPad. I don't use an iPad. In fact, I still have a tower. You know, but, you know, so I think we need to address the larger issue of what we're going to be aiming for the, you know, in the future. And that's my comment, and that's something that's going, I know Al's going to raise, and I'm going to raise next week when we discuss this in detail.
For the sake of time, I'll just comment that I concur.
All right, well, very good. I think with that, we'll draw this bit of discussion to a close, and we'll pick this up at the next CIT meeting. Thanks very much.
Thank you, and
Appreciate
I
it.
want to thank the board for just listening to our introduction, and we'll continue the conversation. So, thank you.
And thank you to our board representatives. Okay, moving on to 9.3, the penalty abatement request. We are in a discussion phase at this point.
Can I just go ahead and make a motion to approve 9.3?
You may.
We have a motion and a second to approve the penalty abatement request. Are there any? It's been seconded by Patty. Are there any questions on this? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection. On to action items personnel.
I'd like to make a motion, if possible, to take action items personnel as a whole. 10-1 through 10-10, yes.
Second.
10-1 through 10-10.
10-10.
Oh, you went there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Would you care to amend your motion 10-1 through 10?
Yes, I'll amend my motion.
Would you approve? Amendment? Okay.
And I'll
So
make
we
a-
have the amended motion 10-1 through 10-8.
And I'll make a
Has been
motion
moved
to
and
approve.
seconded.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
yeah,
So Patty made 10-1 through 10-8, seconded by Al.
right.
All those, are there any questions on 10-1 through 10-8? That's okay. No questions on 10-1 through 10-8. If not, then all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. And that brings us back to 10-9.
Okay, 10.9 supplemental appointments. We're asking the board to approve the supplemental appointments as submitted.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second from Mrs. Grimm and Mr. Leach for 10-9 supplemental appointments. Are there any questions on 10-9? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Okay, very good.
Moving on to 10.10, student teacher placements. We're asking the board to approve our student teacher placements as submitted.
So moved.
Motion and a second on 10-10. Are there any questions on 10-10 student teacher placements? No questions on 10-10. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
Moving on to action items for business, we're asking the board to approve the addendum for services through PTS to include psychology services at a rate of $68.50 an hour and speech services at a rate of $68.50 an hour.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions?
Just a clarifying question. So the proposal is to do this temporarily until we do the valuations, have an understanding, and then hire from there. Is that my understanding?
This would be for overflow evaluations. So I've shared with the board that we're seeing higher than typical numbers coming in through early intervention. So in the instances in the spring months when our district employees, our evaluation teams are very full and busy, we would contract some evaluations to PTS to assist.
Okay, so this is just evaluations. I thought this was for behavior techs too, no?
We already contract behavior techs and occupational therapists from PTS. This would just amend our contract with Pediatric Therapeutic Services so that we could contract psychs as well, school psychologists.
I thought we were training some of our staff to be behavior techs. Is there not benefit to having our own staff? Or is there just
Sure, I can answer that. We currently have one behavior tech from PTS, and she has been with us preceding the time when we started training our own. She's a very good fit in the particular position that she's in, so at the current time, we've decided to keep her. She fills an important role for us, and we do have 3 of our own employees that are in training right now.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions?
I'll make a motion to combine 11.1 to 11.5.
Second.
Okay, a motion for 11.1 through 11.5 has been made and seconded. Are there any questions?
Only one comment in regards to 11.2 Unified Sports Track and Field. I want to say thank you very much to Mr. Dorenzo, Mr. Onspot, for bringing that to our school. I think that's going to be something that's going to be very good for our school and our students.
Yes.
Patty had already motioned on 11.1, and Alan seconded.
Correct.
And then Bill,
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Everybody agree to the new motion for the, did you make the motion?
Patty made the first, Bill made the second.
And this is 11.1?
You agree that you?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so, sorry, I did miss that. I do apologize. So anyway, we've got a motion that everybody agrees to, 11.1 through 11.5 is combined. There's no additional questions on 11.1 through 11.5, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no, and we're back on track just like that to 12, education.
12 action items for education.
And I'll make a motion to combine 12.1 to 12.4.
Second. Yeah, that was good with all of them. This is the,
So we have a combined motion 12.1 through 12.4 made and second. Are there any questions on 12.1 through 12.4, the conferences for the rest, the conferences mentioned?
No.
No questions? No comments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
All those opposed, oh yeah, enthusiastic. All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
Okay, moving to action items for policy. We're asking the board to approve policy 718.2 as submitted.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second to approve 718.2, policy on therapy dogs. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that policy?
Just a quick comment.
Please.
I think this is a fantastic idea for our school district. I know we had one student a couple years ago, and this was wonderful to have this in place. Thank you.
Very good. With that comment, no other questions? So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection.
Action items number 14, miscellaneous, really just more informational regarding this year's board committee appointments per policy 005.
Yeah, committee policies basically didn't make a lot of changes, didn't make a lot of differences, a little tweaks. Most of them were requested by members This member, for whatever reason, wanted to move from one to another. Some swaps there with Tina McIntyre and Al Leach swapping around, Scott Hutt going from here to there. And so I'm going to stay on operations and facilities. Ashley is staying on CIT as the chair. Bill Parker staying on policy as the chair. So most of the things are staying the same, just a few changes here and there. So stability across on the committees as well for this year. So everybody's there for you to see, and that's that, unless anybody has any particular questions. We'd like to welcome Tina. So thank you for stepping up.
Okay, moving on to 15, the Joint Operating Committee. Mrs. Grimm, you have a report?
I have a quick report. We met, the JOC met on January 6th. We welcomed 5 new JOC members, which is a lot. There was only 4 of us that returned. I was the only officer that returned, so we had a big reorg to figure out. Congratulations to the Western Center for one of the biggest turnouts at their open house. That was a huge success. I don't know if you remember me talking last month about the SEMA exhibit that the kids went to, the conference down in Las Vegas. So Mr. Bray, the automotive technology teacher, and 6 of our students shared their SEMA experiences in Las Vegas with a presentation. It was inspiring to me to listen to their experiences, the fun facts at the conference. At the end, I asked the kids for their future endeavors. 4 of the students are employed in the automotive trade. 1 is attending Penn Tech, and one student is going to veterinarian school. This was a very successful program for them, and if you could have saw how all the kids presented themselves, I was so proud of them. So hopefully in the future we'll be doing this again. 60 days left for students to complete their applications. March 15th, 2020 is the deadline. And one thing that, is my time up?
Facilities, please. No one's moving.
It's crazy.
I can't see what I have. They ran out of juice. There you go. One thing that I found pretty interesting this month is the biomedical science students did a rotation at the Phoenixville Hospital. Students are currently learning about the heart and various disorders and interventions. They were able to relate classroom education to the real world experiences, such as seeing stent placements, and after learning about cardiovascular system in the classroom. So that was really interesting to me. We have an update. We have 32 co-op students out there working, which is another record-breaking number. And to show appreciation for the participating companies, we have a wall that we honor all of the participating companies. Because I went on a new tour, because every time I go there, it's like something exciting's happened. So I jumped on when the new JOC members came. I was like, oh, I want to go on that tour just to kind of update myself. So I thought that was really interesting. This Saturday, there's Jeep training sessions. On February 3rd, the JOC will meet and we'll have a community dinner. February 6th, advanced manufacturing and welding are targeted for recruitment night. And February 19th is an indoor car show and craft fair from 8 to 3. And if there's any vendors or anybody would like to be there, please contact the Western Center. Again, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget our westerncenter.org. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Grimm, for the update. Committee items number 16.
Combine 16.1 through 16.4, please.
We have a motion and a second to combine the approval of minutes for the various committee meetings. Does anybody have any questions on those meeting minutes? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. So ordered without objection. And that brings us to item 17, new business.
There's some very exciting events going to be happening this Saturday, and it's the first in Pottsgrove history. So I'd like to turn over to Gary Dorenzo.
He's
He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you wake.
Give him a heads up. Easy, Mark. Easy.
This Saturday is a special day. I think it's been 6 decades that our high school has been opened, and this will be our first athletic Hall of Fame. And I know that we go from a 65, 70-degree weekend this past weekend to anticipated some weather, but we conferred today, and we're going to, whether we have the basketball game or not, we are going to have the luncheon because individuals will be coming from Pittsburgh, Maryland, and New York. And the class is an outstanding kickoff class. The 2012 Boys State Championship cross-country team will be honored. 1978 graduate Randy Burkert, who played at Drexel, was drafted by the Philadelphia 76ers, played 3 years in Argentina. He has the most points scored in Pottsgrove history. 1979 graduate Kurt Wrigley, who matriculated to William & Mary to play football, was drafted by the Giants, and has had a successful business career. Mallory Green, who taught here for a little bit, was a 3-sport athlete, and she was elected into the Ursinus Hall of Fame for softball. Gina Bianchini, I'm not sure what year, I'm dating myself, because I was the athletic director then, but she played 4 years at Penn State. I believe she still holds the hits, steals, and runs scored record, and she's coached for 14 years at the University of Pittsburgh. And last but not least, and probably the one that's special and dear to all of our heart, Roxanne Merja, who still teaches here in her 33rd year, 3-sport athlete, girls tennis champion for 2 years at Lock Haven as well as here at Pottsgrove. So exciting day. We would love to have you. We're going to get them in here at noon and then start the luncheon in the library at 12:30. And if we have to amend some things, we're lucky enough to have PCTV here. So in case we don't have ability to do it in a public forum, we'll have some footage that we can share. So love to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The one thing I wanted to bring up was I wanted to congratulate the wrestling team and such, also the school district for all they did that this past weekend have the Pac-10 individual championships for wrestling here. That's actually a very big event through the entire Pac-10 and such, and it doesn't get to go to every high school. So it's very proud that they were able to be here for the high school. And I want to give a special congratulations to Zachary Van Horn and Manny Allen for actually winning their weight classes for Pac-10 individual championships. And I'm sure we'll get to see them up here at a future board, but I wanted to congratulate them as well.
I just have one quick thing. I just wanted to follow up from a few board meetings ago when we were talking about the buses. So Dave, this would be for you. When we agreed as a board to put the buses on the sort of school Craigslist, whatever, did they ever sell? Are they languishing?
We haven't posted them yet. We've only had 2 vans replaced. We have to wait for the new vehicles to come in before we can sell the old ones. So we have not posted yet. We will be posting in the next month or so.
Okay. Last but not least, I just wanted to circle back to 10.1 and thank the board for extending my commission. I'm very grateful and I'm really humbled, and I really feel that my last stop is going to be my best stop, and it's the Pottsgrove community, it's the Pottsgrove School District, and there's a lot of good things that are happening here, and a lot of things I want to see through, and I just wanted to let the community and really the board know, and all my administrators and directors, really that I appreciate the work that they have done for us, and I want to thank the board for their support. in the lungs of the financial support, the curriculum support, the professional development pieces, the technology and integration, as well as our pupil services department, and really all our support staff, and as well as our facilities. We have a great team here, and you need to know that. And those people have been here, they stay here. There's a reason, because we give them an opportunity to excel in their area of expertise. And when you give the people that work for you the ability to excel in their area of expertise, good things happen, because they're thinking outside the box, they're thinking about next steps, they're thinking about making Pottsgrove School District a better place, whether it's a K-2 setting, a 3-5, our middle school, or our high school, the facilities that surround it, and everything I just mentioned prior. So I thank you for the continued opportunity that you have given me and my family here in the Pottsgrove School District, and I really look forward to serving you for the next 18 months. So thank you very much again.
Thanks very much. Okay. So that brings us back around the horn to public comment.
Is there anybody from the audience that wanted to discuss anything about what we discussed earlier, especially with the dial program? No? Okay.
You want to try that again now? You tried? Can't drum up any support for that, huh? I think I'm going to drop in on that meeting. So forewarned is forearmed.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, I want to see that augmented reality of being able to change those conic sections in real time. I really do want to see that. So, want to see that.
Fair enough.
Okay. So, take a motion to adjourn? Oh, we got one. We got wait. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I'm new to this.
Go right ahead.
Do I touch it every time? Okay. I just want to make a public comment, one about the public comments. There's a lot that was going on today, and if we wanted to comment on one particular topic, if you hold the public comments to the end, there's too much that people might want to comment on. So maybe just a suggestion, public comments after sections or whatever these are called.
You do have public comment at the
After
beginning of the meeting.
each.
There was an opportunity
No,
earlier.
I mean after each topic.
Oh,
After
that-
each topic.
But the,
Yeah, but you guys just said like 10.1 to 10.8, and I had no detail to even comment on if I did have questions. So maybe I wasn't getting to the link that got to the more detailed agenda.
Well, I do know, we do get our board packets on a Friday.
they get them on Monday.
Oh, you get on Monday, okay. So we have time to review and try to condense just the business part of it, so it goes smoother, so then we can get into the discussion topics on what we need to.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying, but that's why we do it that way.
Okay, because my comment earlier was about the laptops and the iPads, and I was just wondering if they had looked into, instead of replacing the laptops with iPads, replacing them with Chromebooks.
well, I will tell you for a fact, I think you may have heard at least, there was 5 people who spoke out on it, and I'm 6, okay? That will be discussed, and there's a committee meeting. It's on the Curriculum Integration Technology Committee that's coming up very soon, where this is going to be discussed in detail. You may have also heard that decision they were asking for was for the 21-22 school year. That's a ways away. So no decision on that has been taken. I will tell you that I have been on the side that's been saying that we should have been a Windows school for 15 years. This is an argument that I've lost consistently, but I'm still fighting. I refuse to give up. You ever seen that thing where the frog's in the neck of the heron and he still has his hand around the neck? That's me.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to give up yet. I'm not going to repeat all the arguments that everybody's made here. I'll do it in the committee meeting. Please come to that meeting where you can present your findings and your beliefs and hear the arguments that are made on both sides.
Yeah, I was
don't
going to
have that
say,
in the top of my head.
the meeting is next Tuesday night at 7:30, and it'll be in the district office, I assume, correct?
Correct.
District office.
And it's also much more casual, so it's more of a community talking.
Yeah, it's none of this stuff. Yeah. Yeah, we love to have others show up.
Yeah, that's one of the
yeah.
biggest things, and I totally understand where you're coming from, and probably one of the reasons why we just don't have very large public output right here is because the board meeting is very formal, as when we do most, and it's amazing how much more work we do in those committee meetings, and if people would come, they'd actually see, all the discussions. It's literally, the public will sit right with us at the desks, and we'll just go back and forth on different things. So I welcome people, please come, especially the curriculum committee, because we do a lot of information there.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then you had mentioned, not to point you out, but that you might have had questions with regard to some of the action items. Do you have questions? I don't know what they were. Like the detail behind them? Yeah.
Prepare beforehand or even now. So
Okay.
this is my first, so I'm learning.
Are you
So
gonna come back?
I apologize. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know if it was another link I was supposed to follow to get a more
Okay.
detailed agenda.
We have, yeah. We do have handouts available at the district office, and there's, board docs is also public, right? There's a public face on board docs.
So you can
Yeah.
follow along.
So you'll come back next time?
You had so much fun, you'll come back, yeah.
That they can log
Thank
into.
you.
So you can see the agenda online as well after Monday morning. So you can see the agenda online and look at the different action items and see what they are to get a better idea, and then you can look in there. So there's different ways we try and get all the information out there. So thanks for coming tonight, and we'll try and do better, all right? So if there's no other bits of public comment, I don't want to jump ahead again. But I will take a motion for adjournment at this time.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, Chuck.
Chuck it out.
Chuck it out.
Okay, Chuck it out, very good.
No, the Dukies are down to the.
Say aye. All those opposed, say no. Done and out.